Welcome back to Proxy, everybody, and today I'm with Dead of Night once again, and we're going to be talking about something a little bit odd today. We're going to be talking about the Revenant Titan and how to actually create a list using it. So what do you think about this, Dead of Night?
I think it's exciting. He's one of our biggest of boys.
He's literally the biggest thing we could fit in a 2,000 point game, right? Because the next biggest is a Phantom Titan, and that goes over 2,000 points. So it's literally the biggest model we can have in a regular Strike Force game.
Absolutely.
So right off the bat, we're making this list, and we're doing this on Battlescribe, and we're just gonna put it in. So let's review the rules for this guy real quick. So I wonder how I here he is. Okay, he's already added. So we have the Revenant tank, right? So like it has some cool options. If we look at it, it does get damaged, but it has a 4-up invul save against range attacks, which make it pretty durable, against those high AP shots. It does have toughness 13,
Absolutely.
which is good. And the cool thing about it is it's actually pretty fast. It adds 8 to the move characteristic when it advances. So basically, you're moving, what is it, 24 inches in a single
24,
turn?
yeah.
I
Yep.
mean, and here's the thing, right? Like, normally this thing's problem would be that it can't move quickly enough over terrain with the new fly rules. But the awesome thing about this guy is that he doesn't really care because he moves so fast. He could just kind of go wherever he wants to, wherever he can draw line of sight to something, and just pop it with immensely powerful weapons. And
Yeah,
also,
you could advance and shoot the pulsars.
yeah, which is insane, right? And then toughness 13, it is not that durable, but it's a lot more durable than our other Eldar stuff. 2 plus save, 30 wounds, OC 16,
That's
which
huge. I think that's a
that's
hidden
big,
gem.
dude. Like, I
Yeah,
didn't realize its OC was that high, but yeah, like you could park this thing on an objective, and unless your opponent destroys it, that objective's yours, you know?
exactly. Hands down yours.
So let's look at its weapons because it has a couple of options. It will always have a cloudburst missile launcher, which is a 36-inch range, 2d6 attacks, strength 8, AP minus 2, damage shoot blast weapon, which, it's good at killing marines and stuff like that. It's not the best weapon out there, but it can clear chaff, which is good. You're going to need something like that on this model because it is so many points. It has to kind of
Exactly.
fulfill multiple roles. So this can clear chaff, but its Revenant Pulsar is extremely powerful. It has two of them, or can have two of them, for 6 attacks apiece, hitting on 3 plus, strength 14, minus 3 AP, and damage 4 with the assault keyword. So it's also, I mean, not that you'd want to, but it's, you could technically get this guy to score secondaries because it has that assault keyword, you know, which is kind of
Yeah.
funny. But I think this thing just blows up anything it hits, right? I mean, like
Yeah,
damage
I think
4 with AP
even
minus 3.
just stock, he's probably killing a tank easy.
Yeah, I mean, this thing
Easy
kills
enough.
on average Luminous battle tanks like nothing, right? Just like swats them aside like flies.
I think the sad part though is like two Wraith Knights are probably just better.
I mean, yeah, like realistically, right? Like if we think about it, like 2 Wraith Knights are
What
going to
if we
be
put
better.
a Wraith Knight with the Titan?
We could. We absolutely could. I mean,
That's
we
an
could
option.
technically. I don't think we can quite fit 2 Wraith Knights with it, but
Just
we
get
can fit
tasked.
one.
How many points are those?
You can't do that either.
490.
Those
Ah.
are just, yeah. You need a warlord, man. You need a warlord in your army, and you can't do it. Um,
Wraith Knight, two Wraith Lords, and a Farseer.
Now you could do that. You could do that for sure. I mean, there's some stuff we can do for sure.
So,
Let's
so the thing is, like, to win games, we probably want to just try to maximize our secondary objective
yeah, because
play.
I don't think so. This thing is going to be having to fulfill multiple roles. It's going to have to fulfill a damage role. It's going to have to fulfill a objective role, and it might in the later stages of the game have to be a secondary. Unfortunately, it's going to maybe have to score secondaries. So you do have to think about all that stuff. And the problem with this thing is it also has this rule called Tower and Wraith Construct, which means every stratagem that targets it's double the CP. So Fire and
Holy
Fade is going to
crap.
cost 4 CP to use. Lightning Fast can't be used on it because it's a Wraith Construct. So I mean, really, it's limited, right? It's limited in the options it has. It doesn't have the smoke keyword, I don't believe either. Like if we go down to the keywords, oh, I don't see them. Does Battlescribe not have the keywords? Probably not.
I can pull it up real quick here.
Yeah. Oh, it
Monster,
does. It's
Titanic,
on top.
Towering Walker. He has fly though.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he has fly, which
Does he have
which
fly?
makes him mobile, right? Because if he didn't have fly, I don't think he would be even able to move out of the deployment zone at times. But okay, so yeah, he doesn't have smoke, so you can't pop smoke on him. It's not like you can pop smoke on him or anything like that. So you need something to make him a little tankier, right? Because you do have to use him as kind of a primary objective controller with that OC-16. So I think what you do, right? Revenant Titan, 1100 points. You give him the Revenant Pulsar on both arms. Because when I'm actually looking at the Sonic Lance, it's not that good. I think the Sonic Lance is really just not that good. It has. See if I can get the rules for it real quick.
The range is short too, which is tough.
Yeah,
But I mean, he can move, so I guess it
18
doesn't
inches.
matter too much.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
it
I mean
makes
that's
him a little vulnerable.
exactly 18 inches. It does make him a little bit vulnerable. I think my main problem with the Sonic Lance though is it just doesn't do as much damage, right?
Also,
Like,
I feel like you're not playing at the objective at all if you're running the Sonic Lance. Or not, maybe not at all, but less because the range is so much shorter.
yeah,
Maybe you're not stuck. Maybe
it
you can't
limits you, I
exactly
think.
sit on an
Yeah.
objective. Yeah.
I mean, it has torrent, it does auto hit with, 2d6 plus 6. You're getting 12. You're probably getting about 19 attacks with it. But even if you have 19 attacks auto hitting, and let's say you're going against, Terminators or something like that, right? Wounding on 3 plus.
Yeah.
It's not exactly going to do a bunch of
Two of them to
damage.
kill one.
Only 2
Yeah.
damage apiece, right? So, like, yeah, I could wipe out a unit of 5 Terminators maybe. But is that worth 1100 points of shooting?
Yeah, I think the pulsar with the 4 damage kind of takes care of a lot of
Yeah, I
things.
think it does. I mean, even just 12 attacks, going through to Terminators, you're popping Thunder Shield, Stormhammer Terminators in one hit.
Even like one of each doesn't really feel right.
Yeah, it doesn't, man. I think the Revenant Pulsar is the clear choice here, because it's better against
Yeah,
everything. It's better
you
against
got
infantry,
you
everything.
also have the Cloudburst missile launcher, which is not too far off of
Right.
the Sonic Lance.
Yeah, and you could easily just use this to clear infantry. So I think
Yeah,
that's what you do. I think you go with the
the
Pulsars.
man still moves 16 inches without advancing, so
Right. No, perfectly, exactly. So what are we gonna use for our supporting units? I think the first thing is you need a Way Leaper in your list,
I've been thinking
right?
about the Way Leaper. I've been also thinking, why not just run just a little old bullshit foot autark at 75 points,
Interesting. You could, yeah. Saves yourself
just
some
for
points.
exactly.
But here's my
That
question
thought was
though,
in my
right?
mind.
Like, see, okay, so here's the other thing I think, right? Is that at
Way
some
Leaper can
point,
hold home objective though, probably.
yeah, that's just what I'm thinking. The lone op, right? You'd have him for the
Yeah.
lone operative.
Is this
Um,
the triple Way Leaper list?
we're getting closer to the triple Way Leaper. Do you give him the Phoenix Gem?
I'd wait and see.
Yeah, we'll wait
I'd
and see.
wait.
But you definitely give him the fusion. Where is it? Dragon fusion gun. Definitely give him that. Howling Banshee mask
Yeah.
sounds good. So we need to
But,
support him, right? We need to make it harder to kill. What tools do we have in the Eldar roster to make it harder to kill?
the Farseer.
Has to be the
On
Farseer,
foot.
right?
Yep. At least one. At least minimum one.
So we have one Farseer. I like giving him the Singing Spear. That's just me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So there's that. So we have one Farseer. Now the next question is, Do we go double Farseer? And I, I, I don't know if you do, but my thinking is that because this Revenant Titan is 1100 points, if you don't get Fortune off, that's going to really hurt. And also,
True.
if you get double Fortune off, and by the way, for everybody listening, you can stack Fortune. You can cast Fortune twice on a unit. It just doesn't do anything unless your opponent has a +1 to wound modifier, which a lot of opponents will. They will have +1 to wound. I mean, if you go against another Aeldari player with Eldrad, if you go against a lot of other armies out there, they're going to have +1 to wound on stuff, right? So that could come into play. It won't come into play that often, but the main reason why you take the double Farseer is to prevent that rolling of a 1, so that your Revenant Titan can always be plus, -1 to wound, right? Like it's +1 to wound it. At
Yeah,
toughness 13,
which
I
is
think that's really
brutal.
good, dude.
Yeah, it's
Like,
very good.
yeah, I mean, it's obviously not something you'd want to do normally on normal units, but because you're paying
I
1100 points for this, I mean,
I
it just
will say
seems
I will say though, if we do run the double Farseer, I feel like there should be a second good target for that other fortune.
in case it goes off, right?
Yes.
I'm in agreement. I think so. I think you could definitely put. Now, here's my choice is if I was to do something, I would just go either Avatar of Cain or Yncarne. Either one, right? Because so get this, right? Revenant Titan can easily pop pretty much anything in the game. Like it gets line of sight on, it could just destroy, right? So Revenant Titan destroys something, and
Yeah.
then obviously the Yncarne pops out.
Queen Bay
Yeah,
teleports. Yeah.
exactly, dude. So there's that's an option, and you throw Fortune on the Yncarne before it goes in. But the other option is you
She's
just say,
probably
you
one
know
of
what, the Yncarne if it does that, it's probably just gonna die. So if it doesn't kill 350 points worth, like it may actually help my Revenant Titan survive because now my opponent has to worry about that first,
yeah,
right?
hard.
So I think that's the key right there is that now
There's
my
there's
opponent
still
has to kill the Yncarne first.
and there's still no guarantee that they do in
Right.
one turn.
Yeah, with Fortune, right? Especially if you kill like a
Especially
big target.
Yeah, especially if she's kind of like on one side of the board, kind of out of range of a
Right.
quarter of their army, even.
Yeah.
And when
The
you
other
make
consideration is
I,
Avatar. I don't know if you do the Avatar of Cain, but
I feel like you could get away with it just with how fast the Revenant Titan is.
mhm. Yeah, you could
So I think
have the
it'll be
Avatar move up onto an objective and have, the
I,
Revenant Titan
ki-
kind of there to
I kind
prevent
of
things.
stumbled upon something weird, and
Hmm.
it's a question that maybe it works, maybe not. Just cheeky Eldar things.
Hmm.
So say we matchless agility the Revenant Titan. Would
Unfortunately, you
that
can't though. Remember,
no?
even for 2 CP, yeah, because it's unfortunately it's a Wraith construct. Like if you look at
It's
its
a
keywords, I know it
it
shouldn't be
says one
right.
Eldari unit. The
Oh, you're
matchless
saying
agility says
you're saying the
the
6 inch
stratagems.
advance. You're not saying lightning fast
Yes,
reactions.
right.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Would that 6 inch advance stack with the 9 or the
So it doesn't.
8? No,
Yeah,
I I,
because it
I
was
figured it was a long
clarified.
shot.
Yeah, no, no. Honestly, before the clarification, you could argue that it does, but there was a GW clarification in the last, balanced data slate, the core rules that
Mm,
abilities that these types of abilities that replace advanced rolls do not stack. Unfortunately.
okay, yeah, worth a
So
shot.
yeah, I do definitely, dude. Could you imagine just like going like an extra 14 inches, like yeah, just like across the
Woo!
battlefield, like
Turn one
yeah,
Revenant Titans in your back line.
like one turn, like your opponent's like, what the fuck, like, and it just starts blasting away at stuff, dude. That would be
I came
so
out
funny.
blasting.
Yep. I mean, it can kind of already do that, right? Like, it's. I wonder if it has
No,
deep
yeah.
strike. Does it have deep strike? Not that it
Uh,
would matter because you can't even put it in reserve at that point level. I don't think it does.
no.
Nah, it doesn't. That'd be funny though.
We could put it in Strat Reserve potentially, right?
Yeah, with Riel. So that's the other question, right? Like, do you actually
No, probably
No,
not.
I don't think so,
You
dude.
need to shoot him every turn.
Yeah. And that's really the thing, right? Is like, how do you protect this thing? If you go second, it's going to be targeted hard, right? So like, but there's no way to like actually know if you're going second or not. So I think this obviously this isn't competitive, right? And I think we have to address this kind of right away. Is that running a Revenant Titan means that half of the time, if your opponent has the tools to deal with it in one turn from range,
That's probably it.
it's
Yeah.
dead, right? If you don't get first turn, it's gone. There's nothing you can really do. But if you do get first turn, then there's a lot of things you can do because you can, obviously fortunate, move it up, kill something, and then it has a lot better chance of surviving. Especially if you combo it with something, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, I think you do the Yncarne, right? And if
The Incarn's
I
pretty
think you do
rude.
the Yncarne, man, because my feeling about the Yncarne here is that it teleports in, it gives your opponent a lot to worry about on turn one or two, and they can't really worry about the Revenant now. Like that's out of there, right?
So we have how many points left?
We only
350.
have 350 points.
So
So I don't know about double
I,
Farseer. I don't
I think the rest of those points needs to go towards like a wrecking ball that can hold an objective. Like all those
technically
points.
Avatar of Cain works.
Right.
So we could just do double Avatar and Revenant Titan. That could be our list with like Farseer and Wayleaper. I don't
Pretty
know if that
ballsy.
works though, man. Because I think the Revenant Titan has to do both. I think it has to be a killer and an objective holder. I think for 1100 points, it needs to do both, right? Like, so like when we're choosing, it's either the Yncarne or the Avatar of Cain, depending on what we want. Do we want a wombo combo something to have the Yncarne go in and destroy and kind of be a distraction while the Revenant Titan holds objectives for
Well,
primary?
this list is turning into sort of a alpha
Monster
strikey.
mass. Yeah. And I think you kind of have to keep it that way because if you're playing, you can't play for the long game with this thing because it's not going to survive the long game. There's just no way it can, right?
Do we
Like,
just slam two jets in here?
what do you mean, like Hemlock Wraith Fighters, dude?
Two Crimson Hunters?
Two Crimsons? I mean, I guess we
No,
could.
I was actually thinking that Death Jester might be cool.
Yeah.
So like part of this like little kill team that we have to create to hold objective. Death Jester, I
Yeah, I
think,
don't think Death
usually
Jester's like a bad
he hits
choice.
above his weight class pretty hard.
Yeah, he does. Well, I mean, what
Um,
do we so like also, right? Like what are we doing for secondaries? Because this guy can't really score secondaries, so I think we need to
Also, a good support unit I think would be Shroud Runners here. Shroud
shrouds.
Runners will help the
Shrouds are
Titan
good. I
hard.
love shrouds. So shrouds do a couple of things for this guy, right? They where are they? Oh, that's
Mounted.
infantry. I'm looking the wrong section.
Yeah.
Shroud runners here. So they can give lethal hits, which may not seem like that big of a deal, but when you have a bunch of different attacks, cloudburst missile launcher and two pulsars, it actually does add up.
Yeah, it
So
kind of probably helps make up for guide a little bit. Missing
yeah, I
guide.
would, right, because we're probably not going to put the Skyrunner in there, the Farseer Skyrunner. I think good idea in theory, but the other thing is the Revenant Titan doesn't really, I mean, it doesn't need it to follow, right? You don't need a Farseer Skyrunner to follow it around. You're basically casting Fortune on it, you're letting it go up, and then you're probably going to end up just staying there while your Farseer foot slogs it up to that position next turn. And if your Farseer dies, then it dies, and that's it, right?
Yep.
There's nothing much you can do about that. Especially if your opponent has indirect fire, your Farseer is probably dead anyway. So as long as you can get off at least one fortune on that Farseer, I think you're good. So I think Shroud
Yeah.
Runners are a good choice. So that brings us up to 725, or
Yeah.
1725. We still have plenty of points for secondary scores, so that's one unit that can possibly score secondaries. What do you
I
think?
feel like one squad of Hawks, swooping Hawks
At
too. At
least,
least
right?
one squad, yeah.
If not more, dude.
That will start with one. That'd be
Yeah.
yeah,
So we have one unit
200
of
points
Hawks.
left.
We'll probably give the Exarch something like, yeah, the Hawk's Talon and the Power Sword, right?
Bada bing, bada
Might
boom.
as well. It's free, right? So you give it that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're kind of shaping up. We have 200 points left. Now, the real question here is, what do we have to prevent infiltrators? Right? Like, do we even care about that?
Probably no.
Do we care about some scouts
No,
infiltrating up against a
we're
Revenant Titan?
we're forced to not care about a lot of things. I feel with
Yeah. So
the point
here's
handicap.
yeah. If you're smart with how you deploy your Wayleaper and Farseer, you shouldn't be in range for a turn one charge, even from infiltrators. Right?
Yeah.
You would just put them behind the Revenant Titan. And that's all you need. So maybe you
I
don't
mean,
do that.
also we can, like swooping hawks can deep strike, and we can strat reserve most of the army and just keep the Wayleaper on the board and be like,
Right.
okay, turn one, there's the Revenant Titan, the Wayleaper. That's
Yeah, we
it.
could. Yeah, I mean that's
or like
exactly
or like
right.
the
But
Yncarne's also on the board.
right, you need to
Everything
have
else
them
is
on
in
board.
reserve.
Yeah. So that's an idea. Um. So maybe we don't need rangers for this.
No, but they are super cheap and
Yeah.
do
They
ranger things,
do.
which is
Yeah. They do good secondaries and they screen. Which you know what? Come to think of it,
you
I think
also
we
need more
do
lethality
actually.
here.
We might want a ranger, dude. We might want one unit of rangers in this list because they do, keep the enemy back. And I think that's what we're going to need in this list. Like, this list cannot deal with something swarming all over it,
Hmm.
right? It needs room to kind of maneuver. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
What do you think?
I think this list is going to be all over the table, anyways. The Incarne's going to be somewhere. The Revenant
Right.
Titan's going to be somewhere doing whatever his thing by himself, probably.
hmm
The rest of the army is going to be just trying to catch up and score points, hopefully, and
Let me
maybe
look
kill
at something real
something.
quick because
Like,
does the Revenant can the Revenant Titan fall back? Let's check. Because
oh,
if
I'm
it can
sure you
fall
can do
back
whatever
for
you want.
free, then like we're
Yeah,
good. We don't need more screening. But if it can't, we might need it.
Proxy. You could also right click and view too.
Oh, right click, it does the same thing.
Yeah, you can right click and hit view, and it'll just pop up and be there.
Yeah. Okay, Titanic Advance. I think this is it. Each time this model makes a normal moment, it can move over enemy models 4 inches less. Okay, so yeah, I can move over them as if they do not exist, which means that I assume you don't have to take. Oh, it also has fly, right? So you
So
don't
I mean,
have to take desperate escape tests.
we just feigned retreat him.
Yeah, it is 2 CP though, because
That's what I love all Talk Man's
yeah,
for, right?
yeah. So you could do
I
that.
mean,
Yeah,
we do
we
have
put
that
them in
though.
there for a
We have.
reason. We put them in there for a reason. So yeah, we could do that. So maybe we don't need rangers, um, but we still need more secondaries. I feel like like when building a list, I always try to have at least 4 or 5 units that can score on secondaries. So I think we should try to get there, right? I think we should. What do you think? Do you think we should put in more swooping hawks, warp spiders? What
I
do you
mean,
think?
Swooping Hawks fits the bill really hard here because they're cheap and they do the secondaries and kind of help
Yeah.
fill the primary role sometimes.
Yeah, I think you go for another unit of swooping hawks, right? Like I think you have at least 2 in your army.
You know,
So we have 125 points left. This kind of puts us at a unique
we need
kind
something
of
that
area,
kills stuff.
right? Do we though?
I feel I feel like we do. Like, what do we have that kills stuff? We have the Revenant
The
Titan and the
Revenant, that's
Incarne.
all we need, baby. We have the Revenant Titan and the Yncarne, dude. Like,
Big
what else?
Daddy.
I mean, what else can we really afford? Like, I mean, I guess
Uh,
there's a couple things you could do, right? Like for 125, there's support weapons, obviously are good. A
yeah,
Void Weaver is good.
Warwalker.
Warwalker is good. But like, I don't think any of those really add to the list. Like in a serious way, they don't
What
really do
about
anything that the Revenant Titan
what
can't do.
about what about Viper? Is there enough points for like
Interesting.
Viper Ranger Squad?
No,
Oh,
barely, but there's not.
hmm.
Well, there is if we do some changes elsewhere. Um,
So you add one Ranger Squad.
Yeah, 'cause I don't think Rangers are bad. I think they're a pretty good
The
unit.
elite of the elite right there.
So I
We
mean,
got
we have
70 points.
930, so we have 70 points, right? Like the only things I can think of for 70 points realistically are Corsair Void Reavers and Dire Avengers. Now,
Ooh,
Dire Avengers,
what about my spicy Warlock Skyrunner?
oh, a single Warlock Skyrunner? I guess we could do that. They're only 55 points,
Yeah.
right? Like, well,
You
yeah,
got
you
the
could do it.
speed
I mean,
with him.
I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. I'm just thinking like,
We
does
could
it
almost
actually?
throw some Scorps.
Yeah, we're almost to some Scorpions. Which I mean, Scorpions are good too, but at 75 points, we could have, we could have a lot of different things.
What if we take out a hawk, put in a scorpion, and just have like a weird fun toolboxy like aspect warriors in here?
To kind of just do whatever and just, yeah, that could work. I like that idea.
Like even a Shadow Spectre squad maybe would be sick. Probably Shadow Spectre's real good here.
I think Shadow Specters are good. But I mean, they're just good in every list. I mean, realistically, they're just a good unit.
No, yeah.
Um,
I'm saying this particular list what their points cost, especially like probably pretty solid.
that Viper does look tasty though, and I'll tell you why. Because we can make points for it. Ignores cover is pretty powerful, right?
Right, right.
Like,
That's why I kind of brought him up, yeah.
and I mean, I can't help but think that if we have the Revenant Titan, we need to make sure something dies. Because if we don't, then there's no place for the Yncarne to go. You know what I mean?
I also argue Eldrad then instead of a Viper.
Eldrad. Extra fate dice. Doom. Yeah, I could see that, dude. Mind War is okay. He's 110.
Doom will help the rest of the army hopefully do
Yeah.
something.
You know what? Do we downgrade the Autarch Wayleaper to a regular Autarch on foot?
Yeah, or the other option is our spicy Autarch Skyrunner who hangs out off the board.
Oh, dude, you know what I just thought of? Yeah, dude, exactly. What about Illic Nightspear, man?
I was thinking they look at the 10 pack of the boys could be pretty neat.
Just with nothing, man. Just
Oh, it
dick
looks
in the
solo.
wind. Dick in the wind. Because, okay, check this out, right? He has Infiltrate by himself, and I believe, yeah,
Is he
this
low not by
model's unit.
himself?
So he counts as a model in his own unit.
Okay,
Can
yeah.
only be selected as a range attack more than 12. But yeah, so he has a lone op from this ability. The only thing he doesn't have is rerolling wounds because it says while this model is leading a unit. Right? So like he still has this solo. Okay, so
So
I
Illic,
think we do Illic, man, for 70 points. And here's my reasoning for this. And it may be
but
bizarre,
do you
but
take out the Ranger squad then?
no, we just leave the Rangers in there, man, because then you have the option. You could either
To
have
throw
him
them
with the
together.
Rangers to screen out your backfield, right?
Hmm.
Like for home objectives and stuff, or you separate them out and the Rangers can do screening stuff. If your opponent has units that you need to screen out, you can use your Rangers just as a 5-pack. But Illic is always kind of there in the background. He's on your home objective, he's like chilling on your home objective while the Revenant Titan's out there like doing work. And then that way
Yeah.
we can actually take the Autarch Wayleaper. We might be able to do something else with it. Right? I don't know, maybe not.
We could also just abandon the Autarch.
We could just abandon the Autarch. We could just abandon the Autarch. For sure.
Like in reality, how many times are you going to use any stratagems on the Titan?
I don't think we're going to use any strats on it. I
You
think
know,
realistically, the
just have to
Yncarne,
be
once it
careful.
teleports in, 9 times out of 10, it's going to die. It's going to die the next turn. It doesn't have the ability to teleport back out anymore. So, like,
True.
once it's committed, it's committed. So I think maybe Autarch Wayleaper, although good, might be, and we don't even have the points for a Phoenix Gem, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we just get rid of this. I mean, look, I mean, it's at 2,000 points. Realistically, somebody could run this and have a lot of fun. I think could have a reasonable chance of winning with this list. But if we wanted to like go even farther with it, maybe we just get rid of the Autarch Wayleaper, and we have 115 points to work with. What do we buy for 115 points? A Solitaire?
Oh,
I don't know,
Solitaire
dude.
Warwalker.
A Warwalker, dude? I don't know. What do you think? So, what's your idea behind the Warwalker? I just don't think it does anything in this list, right?
It's just a
Like,
durable like one of I always think that Warwalker's sneaky durable.
it is
Like
sneaky durable because of the -1 to wound, right? I almost think Warwalkers though are a little bit better in another type of list, but I mean, I could be just totally like discounting
Viper
it
and then
because I think Viper, dude. That's exactly what I was thinking. I
yeah,
think
go back to the
Viper in
Viper.
this
Go to
list is a
Viper.
little better. You're ignoring cover, which really helps against a lot of stuff. Like the Revenant Titan's a bit like okay, so if we look at the Revenant Titan, right, like its weakness, it's deceptively you said there was a way to like view this if I did this or...
Yeah, view selection.
Okay, oh wow, cool. Okay, so if we look at this, right? Like we look at its weapons, its ranged weapons. -3, -2 looks good on paper, but you have to kind of subtract one from each of those because the enemy is going to have cover pretty much all the time against this. So AP -1 isn't great into Marines. Are getting a 4-up save, and the pulsars giving whatever it is. It's only -2. So if you're shooting at something like a Leman Russ or a Land Raider or a Storm Raven, they're getting a 4-up save against your attacks, which means
Even getting
half of it
the
saves. Like,
even getting the full -3 and on the pulsar is valuable.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, ignores cover -3, having to
Yeah,
like forcing 5-ups instead of 4-ups, especially with the vast amount of attacks you have on this thing. I think it's a better bet. You know,
absolutely. I will argue guide though if we're gonna put them in melee a bunch.
that's true. Guide also, right? Because it helps with the helps you hit a couple more times in melee. I mean, its melee isn't bad. Strength 10, AP -1,
Not
damage 3.
awful, yeah.
It's good against Terminators. Wounds them on a 2-up. And the AP could be better, let's be real. I don't know why it's just AP -1, but
Yeah, it's literally a
it could be -2, I think,
revenant
but
titan.
still. Damage 3, so, I mean, 3-up saves. So it's not bad. It's killing a Terminator every
Yeah,
squish, every
exactly.
stomp.
Yep.
Um, that's not bad. I think, Cloudburst Missile Launcher Guide is really good on too. So really we have a decision to make. Like, how do we buff the Revenant Titan even more? Do we ignore his cover or do we guide? That's the question. That's the question.
Okay. Add the Viper. Add the Viper.
Yeah. So we got the Viper, right? So we got Viper. We're at so we had
That's
30 more
30.
points. Now, at this point, what we could do, we could basically really the
I
only thing
could
we could do is add a Phoenix Gem on the Farseer, right? Keep the Farseer
mm,
alive for another turn, and that's it.
I could get us to 50 points left over.
So
If you
how do we do that?
take, take out a Hawk and you add a Warlock Skyrunner, then we got 50
Okay.
left. Or you just Phoenix Gem here.
We could do that. But what do we do with 50 points though, you know what I mean? Like, is that even worth it?
Hmm.
Cuz I mean like if we could like fit in another ranger or something that'd be I
That's what I
think
was,
worth it,
yeah,
but it's 55,
that's the track I was looking to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean like we're a little bit low on that. I mean we could do warlock on foot, then we get 60 points.
Ooh, the spicy Warlock on foot.
Like what do we do for 60 points? Like, you know what I mean?
I think you keep the Hawks over the Warlock on
I
foot,
think you do.
probably.
Yeah, dude. I think that's the correct answer.
I do like Fire Dragons in this list
I
too,
know, man.
randomly on foot.
If only, dude. I actually,
Shadow
believe it or
Spectre.
not, I actually think fire dragons in this list would not be as good as you think.
Shadow Spectres though for
Because I
sure.
think they're just an easy Overwatch target at this point. But
What
yeah, Shadow
what are the
Specters are good.
Spectres? What how much are they?
95.
95.
We would need to like X something out. We need to like
Well,
cancel the Uranus
you could take
rules.
out a Hawk. You could take out a Hawk, put in
Yeah,
a
you
Shadow
could for
Spectre.
sure.
Yeah,
You could do Shadow Specters as well.
yeah,
Actually, I
just straight
like
up.
that a lot. I think that has a lot of synergy, man. Like if we X'd out a
Yeah.
Hawk here and we put in Shadow Specters, where are they? Here they are. Yeah, that's decent. Puts us at 1990. That's good. And the cool thing about this, right, is that like your swooping hawks are scoring the objectives, they can just focus on that, and your
I think
shadow
that gives you a
specters can
little
deal
extra
damage.
damage too that you need
Yeah, gives you a little
for
more anti-horde.
hunting for.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Because I think realistically, if you run up against a horde list, this list can't do anything against it. Whereas if you have a unit of shadow specters, that like kind of helps a little, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I like this. I like this list. It's kind of cool, you know? It's kind of cool. I think, okay, so what's the plan with this list? In any case, right? Like, whatever your supporting units are, what's your plan with this list? Like, let's say we go turn one, right? So, command phase, cast fortune. We don't have the double farce here, so hopefully you don't roll a one. Hopefully you don't roll that dreaded one. But if you do, whatever, you just gotta have to roll with it. We advance the Revenant Titan up towards a firing lane, right? Like to where it can see something. Now, the only problem I see with this is that if your opponent hides really well, you might not be able to do this first turn. So you're going to have to wait a turn and just use your rangers and other units to kind of get onto objectives to like force your opponent out, right?
Yeah.
And what do you do then, man?
Yeah, you just have to play very, very like shadow. I think with all the other units
You know, pop something with the Revenant Titan, right? And
every
then
turn. Yeah, that's the goal.
jump the Yncarne to it if you think there's another juicy target that it can charge.
Yeah, if you can pull it off like a double unit kill. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is interesting because I've
And
seen
while opponents like
lists.
just kind of weirded out about all that, all your
Oh
other
yeah, dude.
random units are just kind of doing their job.
Yeah. And I mean, I've seen lists like, the Skatar Wraith Knight or Skothak, I should say, Skothak Wraith Knight can, hit something with the Infernal Lances, like, not in this list, but, hit something with Infernal Lances, kill it, and then, the Yncarne can jump and then charge, which is cool.
This makes me want to just like play the return of the Wraith Knight, just triple Wraith Knight.
Triple Wraith, dude.
Yeah,
I
F
guess
the
you could
world.
technically do. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it nowadays, dude. Like, people, it's not good, but I mean, you could do it, and like at your local game store, like people would still think you're a dick, like for running that.
Oh yeah,
Like, oh, triple rate, dude, you're such a dick, man. It's like the Wraith Knight hasn't been competitive for like months and months. But you know what's funny? Um, People still think it's broken, man. Like, even though
I
it's not
mean,
nearly as competitive. Like it's totally gone from the competitive scene. But there's people out there like at your local game stores who have been out of the loop since the beginning of the edition with what's going on competitively, and they still think it's OP as fuck. Like they'll
I think
still
he
give you
still
shit for it.
Wraith Knight will still pick something up every turn.
I
I
think they're
feel.
good. Yeah, I think they can
Yeah,
still definitely do that, dude. Like for sure, especially if
3
you
of
roll
them.
lucky. Yeah, dude. Like if you roll that 2d6 attacks or D6 or what is it? D3 plus 1. I have to
One of them's
look.
just sword and board Wraith Knight.
This sword and board is horrible,
Giant
dude. I
cojones.
wish it was good. The reason it's horrible is because you can never charge anything with it. It
520.
doesn't have fly either. It's terrible, dude. I wish it was. God, I wish it was good. The only thing I would consider maybe is like having the sword, but also having a wraith cannon, and then
No,
that way
yeah,
you could do both.
yeah.
You could like if somebody charged into you, they couldn't really tie you up because you just slice through them because it's so powerful.
Just run them all sword and board. Be a creep.
That'd be just fun to look at. Because there's, I mean, they look really cool with the
Good luck.
sword.
I don't know. It'd be tough to kill.
Oh, it'd for sure be
That
tough to
4-up
kill, man.
bow.
Yeah, it'd be super tough. You could also just give them the, what do you call it? The Wraith Cannon and the 4-up bowl.
Kind of another version of this list. I was thinking with just running Wraith Lords and maybe Wraith Blade / Guard.
Yeah.
And just kind of going thematic that way.
It would be interesting to do that because it would overload your opponent's ability to kill everything in one turn. So, like, if you just had
Right.
Wraith Lords upon Wraith Lords with the Revenant Titan, that could be pretty effective, right? You use
Maybe
the
rock
Wraith
off
Lords
in
to,
first
like,
year.
clear infantry and stuff. Yeah, dude, I think that'd be interesting. I don't know if it'd be as competitive as far as, like, being able
All your
to.
Wraith Lords could get into melee pretty easily
Yeah,
too, you know?
no, I think so. You know, the more I play Wraith Lords, I realize that, like, okay, so Wraith Lords are a unit I think is like a B tier unit. It's kind of like a middle ground unit. It's good, but it's not fantastic, And I think the only thing really keeping Wraith, like a lot of people will look at their points cost and say, "Oh, it's a points." I actually don't think it's a points, man. I think it's a combination of being a monster and having a slow fucking movement. Like
Yeah.
it's movement 8, you know? Which may seem like a lot, but it's only 1 inch more than like a lot of our aspect warriors, and it
Never
has a big
underestimate the
base.
auto advance 6 though.
That's true, man.
Just do it, you know?
That's true. I mean, it can technically still score on secondaries as well with that.
And also, well, no, we can't fire evade him, can we?
No, you can't. Well, actually, why not? Yeah, you can. I think we can.
We can.
Yeah, why not?
Throw a catapult on his
Yeah,
fist.
I think the flamers are sold. Hold on a second. Let's see. Why doesn't it have the?
No, you don't get them kitted out that way.
Oh, of course I don't. I'm stupid. Where is it? It's not on my list.
No, you gotta add him.
I gotta add him first. Okay, let's
There you
just
go.
to add him on here. Let's throw 2 flamers on there.
Just hover over the flamer, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, it has assault.
Yeah, it's all, yeah.
Yeah, so it could do that. You could advance and score secondaries with it. That's what I thought because like I've run these guys like with the flamers always, and I've always done that. And I was like, shoot, have I been assuming wrongly that it doesn't have assault all this time? No, I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah, so it has that.
North cover.
Yeah, I mean the flamers are just
Mhm.
flamers, right? They're
Love
nothing
it.
special, but
No, yeah.
I think the main thing is it's just like it's slow. It's movement 8. So even if you
Yeah,
do
for
like
sure.
advance it, it's only like going 14 inches, right? Which for a monster might not be that good. Yeah, but I don't know. I think that's
But I
what's
mean,
keeping it
I,
from
th- I
being
think the Wraith Lords also might have time to get up there because the Revenant Titan moves so fast
in this
itself.
dude. Yes, in this list, I think Wraith Lords actually might be good. And also, you're generating extra fate dice for the Revenant Titan throughout
Slap
the
triple
game.
Wraith Lord in there real quick.
I think triple Wraith Lord would be good. So okay, so
Throw it in
like
there.
let's exit that out real quick. Let's clear everything. So for all you guys out there, that might be a good idea to run that kind of list. But let's say
Yeah,
we
that
don't
one's
want to
kind of
do
more
that.
toolboxy
Let's
and
say we don't
like
even. Let's just say we
playing
we want to turn our
objectives.
brains off. We want to turn our brains just completely off, and we want to just run a monster mash with a Revenant Titan, triple Lord, boom boom boom. Give them the flamers, of course, because you have to. And 2 bright lances. Now here's the question: do we go bright lance or do we go something more anti-infantry to kind of go up there? Or do we do a mixed weapon? Do we
But
do a
yeah, we
single
could do
bright
the
lance?
mix.
So okay, so that's
Brylance,
interesting. So we could do
Brylance cannon,
Overwatch.
Brylance missile launcher.
I think bright lance shuriken cannon works. I
But
think
like,
realistically, I think you just want more anti-tank, but I
hear me
think
out with the
this
missile
works.
launcher though.
Yeah.
So I we could use it instead of Shrieking Cannon because we have the Ghost Glaive.
Mm-hmm.
That's my argument.
Yeah.
So we have the Ghost Glaive, so we don't necessarily need the Shrieking Cannon damage, but we get the extra range with the missile launcher and the utility out of the missile launcher.
Okay. So,
Because Ghost Glaive, I think, kind of is along the lines of the Shrieking Cannon sort of profile, right?
yeah, it is. Well, let's actually, I mean,
But
it's
we could
strength
also make
10,
all
so
we
it's
can
a
make all
little
the
bit
Wraith
different.
Lords different too. You have
Yeah,
Brightlance's Wraith Lord.
you could. Yeah, so it's strength 10, AP minus 3, which is pretty good, but it hits on 4s. That's what sucks about it.
Or we spread that kind of toolbox out on all three, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so you definitely could do the Eldari missile launcher. I think my main problem with the missile launcher is if you look at it, its profile just it's not great, right? The single shot is worse than the Bright Lance in every way.
Oh, for sure.
The sunburst is worse than the scatter laser in every way,
You
right?
got AP with it though.
Yes, true. But it has way less attacks and less strength. It does have blast though, which is interesting. So you have
Yeah,
blast.
not necessarily way less attacks,
My
but
only
yes.
issue with this is, you know what I found out? I actually
What do you
like the
think
missile
range
launcher
though?
on Wraith Lords. Like, I actually do like it because it gives them a good anti-horde ability. Like, it gives them actually really good anti-horde, like with the
Like
flamers.
you could have one Wraith Lord sitting
Like
way
against
deep,
guard or something.
just double missile
Yeah.
launcher.
Oh, dude. Against Imperial Guard,
Fucking it.
in my honest opinion, the missile launcher is the best option because what do Guard have, right? They have infantry
Bad saves.
and they have terrible tanks that are toughness, like the Chimeras, right? They're toughness 9 anyway.
Right.
So it kind of works out against both, but my thing with especially with the Sunburst missile against Guard, each missile launch you have is getting D6 plus about 4 attacks against a big unit. Like a big squad of 20. And usually they have a command squad in them, so that's like, 5 extra attacks. So you're getting about 17 attacks with the missile launcher, which is more than way more than the scatter laser, right?
Yeah.
So that is good.
Yeah, I do like just having bright lances though throughout.
I know they're
Like,
reliable, man.
just
That's why.
here's six bright lances.
Yeah, and exactly right. Like they're
Can't
just
argue
good,
that
solid
really.
damage. I think maybe it just depends what you want to do, what your meta looks like, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean those are all good options. I mean we don't even have to choose. We could just say Bright Lances for now, right? How do I
Yeah, for
duplicate
sure.
this? Duplicate. There we go.
Also change it up to depending
Yeah.
on the rest of the list.
So like this is kind of interesting because now we have three freaking Wraith Lords, a Revenant Titan. What else can we fit in here? We can fit in 340 more points.
Two Wraithseers.
Two Wraithseers. That's interesting. Now maybe we give the Wraithseer because it already has a flamer. Maybe we give this one something different than a Bright Lance.
Yeah, you got a D cannon.
I know, but it sucks
AB.
though. It's
Not
not that
terrible.
bad, I guess. It's just yeah, it's not terrible. Question is it better than a Bright Lance? Less damage, more AP, more strength. Honestly, I think it's hit or miss. I think it doesn't even matter. I think they're both okay. The only problem I've had with the D cannon is I have had issues with it where it's like you can overwatch 24 inches with it, but if your opponent knows that, they can just like slightly edge a little bit back and just be like, okay, I'm out of 24. Like they wouldn't be able to do that with the Bright Lance, right? So that is
Yeah.
the case. But we do also have Wraith Lords, so if we just paired them next to each other, if we just put them next to each other, your opponent wouldn't be able to do anything because if they move, outside of 24, then you got the Bright Lances. They move inside of 24, then you got the D Cannons. So maybe we just keep them with D Cannons, man.
Yeah.
Like maybe
Yeah.
that's just fuck it, dude. Let's just keep it with that. We got access to devastating wounds, which is something you need,
And
right?
then we got 20 points for
The
a
rest
little
of our army,
Farseer
we
left.
don't have that, so we need something for it, right? So we have D Cannons here, that's fine. And these guys come with a pretty interesting weapon because they have the Ghost Spear, which
Sick.
is awesome. So like its anti-infantry clearing ability against damage, like it's good, anti-infantry 2 plus. This may not seem like a lot to a lot of people out there, but it is, especially against stuff that is going to be tough, like tough infantry. Like Custodes are a big rage right now. You have anti-infantry 2 plus against them, right? Like toughness
Three
6,
damage.
toughness 7, where you're going to be wounding on 4s. With strength 7, nope, wounding on 2s. It is -1, which, it's not the greatest. It is psychic, which, again, not the greatest. It's not going to be great against things that have feel no pain against psychic weapons, like the Sisters of Battle from the Custodes. I don't know what they're called. They're called, like, what are those things called? They're like Sisters of Battle, but the Custodes ones.
Oh, they're like Terminator. Their little suits.
No, they're like they're not Sisters of Battle, but they're Sisters of Battle, but they work for the Custodes. They're like, you know, they party with them. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
I don't know how half that works.
Well, um,
I don't
so it's
want to know
not
what the
good against
sisters of battle
them.
do
I
with it.
can't remember what they're called, but it's not good against them. But what it is good against is like just your regular like infantry that's like really tough, right? Like even toughness 5, toughness 6, it's good against. Like anti-infantry 2 plus is very powerful. And you have the
Yeah,
same thing with this. It's just strength 10. You get a little more AP with this. You get damage 3, so that's
Fleet is
also good.
nasty.
Yeah, precision as well. So
Yeah,
you
oof.
can actually like melt characters with this. I was actually thinking about this the other day. Like, there's a decent chance. It's not a great chance, but there's a decent chance you charge into something like a Custody unit. You survive somehow the strikes first. And with this guy, and again, I don't think you survive the strikes first, but if your opponent doesn't have the command points for it or something like that, this could happen. You charge in and you strike down their leader, the leader of the unit, because you have precision, but you also have anti-infantry 2 plus. So 4 attacks, roll to hit, 2 of them hit, reroll 1. Maybe you get another hit, perhaps. And then with 3 attacks, wounding on 2 plus, most likely you're going to wound all that with a reroll. They get 3 4-up saves. You know, they could just miss them. I mean, the chances aren't high, but they could just miss all of them, right? They could. I mean, 4-ups are really swingy. Like, really swingy. You could be doing 9 wounds a trade in Valoris.
Yeah.
Like,
I,
he would
I think
have
I'm a big
to.
fan of this version.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think the Wraithseer is the reason why it's not being taken is simply because of the fact.
DK is not that great for him. Yeah.
No, I think it's just because it's not an infantry meta, man. I think if it was more of and I think we're getting there to that
True.
point, but there's armies that just aren't infantry. This is really good too into Necron with
Racer is
Wraiths.
actually way more toolboxy than I
It
thought.
is, dude. It actually is. It's just that I think people underestimate it because if you look at its weapons, it doesn't look that great. But if you charge this thing into like something like a unit of Canoptic Wraiths, it's anti-infantry 2 plus, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I know they have 4 wounds, but against the 4 wound targets, you're just doing the sweeps, man. Sweeps all day long. You're hitting on 4s, true, but you're
Wounding on
doing the
twos kind of makes
wounding
up
on
for
2s.
it.
You're getting solid damage, and what you're doing is you're throwing this guy in there, and you're just doing precision against the leader of the unit.
Because he's still T11, 2 up, 5 up.
Yeah, he still has a good save. 10 wounds, OC3. Not like gonna again. He's not gonna like solo a unit of rates, but with other stuff, this guy could definitely do that. And forces a battle shock test, which is again something people don't think about. But if I shoot this guy and battle shock an enemy unit, they cannot use stratagems in the fight phase,
Yep.
right? Like when I
It's,
kill
it's
your
not
like
terrible. It
cryptek.
is something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You have no recourse. You have no command reroll. You can't do anything because the unit's battle shocked. You can't target it, so it just dies. Your cryptek is just dead. Um, so I think that's interesting. You know, I do kind of like this guy a little bit.
Yeah, my perspective is definitely kind of opened a little bit more. I might have to pull him off the shelf.
Yeah. I think definitely you can make Wraithseers work. I just think like the only thing that kind of sucks about them is they're psychers, and a bunch of their weapons are psychic. So The
Yeah.
psychic keyword is an absolute disgrace this edition. It doesn't do anything for you. However, if we get our codex, right, and we get an attachment
Whoa.
with psychic benefits, guess who's on top now?
Whoa.
Guess who's on top now? The
Hopefully,
Wraithseer.
whoa.
I know, dude. That would be so good. Think about an Uthway list with like three of these bad boys with like
I might
devastating
have to pick
wound
up a
psychic
couple more.
weapons, dude.
Oh
Dude, think
no.
about that. Like psychic weapons gain the devastating wounds ability, and you have this with anti-infantry 2 plus, dude. This thing would be
Uh,
instant banned. This thing would be insta banned in
yeah,
tournaments, dude. They'd have to
yeah,
rewrite the
you
rules on
know
this.
it.
Think about 12 attacks with devastating, just pure devastating wounds, dude.
Dude,
That'd be insane.
please, please, all my warlock
Devastating.
skyrunners. Oh my,
That'd be
destructor for
oh, dude,
days.
that would be awesome. Well, I realistically, I think that's what the detachment bonus should be for the Uthway detachment. I
I
think it should
don't
be that
know. I don't
for
know.
sure, dude. Because like think about it, man. It
All
needs to
truck
be
out
destructive, dude. It needs to be just like we need psychers back
mortals,
again, man.
mortals,
Just mortals for days, dude. Just under a
immortals.
different name. Just under a different name. Just devastating wounds now instead of that. You know how I justify it, man? Like
Just make it so we can just cast psychic powers. Just bring the
just think
phase
about
back
how many devastating wounds and like mortal
for
wounds
Eldar.
like Thousand Suns can deal a turn. Like, come on, we
Yeah,
need that back, right? Like,
yeah.
we need that back, dude. Thousand Suns are like. By the way, have you seen the tournament win rates of Eldar? It's not doing great. It's not doing great,
No,
man.
it's not. It's
It's
not.
slipping, bro. And I think the reason why is because like you have factions that are doing all this cheesy shit now. Like, you know, they're just
Yeah.
not killable. Like the thing is like Eldar were able to like dominate those other factions because we were able to regardless of what they did with their buffs and stuff. They could have -1 to hit, they could have smoke, whatever. We were able to allocate enough resources to kill it without also exposing a bunch of our units to enemy firepower. And now we have to really be more careful about that.
Well,
And
we're
if,
out here with the brain trust trying to figure out
yeah,
how to
dude.
bring it back.
Hell yeah, dude. I think we're still a good faction, for sure. I just, are we top three? No. And that's because the
Similarly
top three
realistic.
three factions right now are kind of busted. Like, I would
Yeah.
say top three factions probably, obviously Necron, Custodes, and then, dude, believe it or not, Tau.
Yeah,
Freaking Tau. You know why?
Tao's brutal.
GW overbuffed the fuck out of them in the index. Now, they're getting a new codex, and I think that'll kind of like settle things a little bit. They'll still be really good, but their points will be adjusted accordingly. Like a lot of Tau players are out there saying right now, and this, again, what I'm saying is controversial. They're saying, "Oh, the points are too expensive. Like I should have 300 more points on my list." I don't think you guys are going to get what you want. I don't think you're going to have your cake and eat it too because your index points, the only reason they're that low is because you guys as a faction were doing so bad, like in competitive play, the GW was like, let's just buff all their points across the board, right? Like, let's just like give them some buffs. Now that you guys have a new codex with new detachments and new toys and new special rules and all this cool stuff, don't expect to have the same points allocated to your units. Like expect the points to be relatively the same. Like there may be a few differences here and there, but it's not going to be so drastic. It's not going to be like index point levels where you have like a unit of breachers for like what are they 80 points or some ridiculous thing like super cheap.
All right.
Like you're not going to
I,
have
I
that.
feel like
Like
I feel like this list is pretty close to just a Knights list too.
I think it's exactly the same.
Eldar Knights
Except
list.
instead of like Eldar Knights, you have a bunch of Wraith Lords.
Yeah, but they're just like the little ones
Yeah, and we have a Farseer for our Warlord. Warlord.
with a little reader of
Oh,
the
we need to
rune.
give him the Reader of the Runes. There we go.
Yeah, hard.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect for. I mean, even Fate's Messenger would be okay on this guy. Like, give him a little durability. We give him Phoenix
Yeah,
Messenger.
yeah.
This is insane. This is absolutely insane. Three Wraith Lords, two Wraithseers, and the Revenant Titan.
Right. I think it's pretty gnarly. You have a
That's
lot of
sick,
melee
dude.
here too.
That's so cool. Yeah, I mean,
Toughness
this
and melee.
list just like I think it's just a ball of death. I don't know if it's good, but it's just It's a lot of killing, dude.
I would love to watch it get played.
I think it has no objective potential. It has
I mean,
absolutely
why not?
none,
Why not?
dude.
You got a Titan on one, two Wraith Lords on one, two Wraithseers on another one.
The problem is, man,
Like, good luck,
is that
like,
if
deal
they're
with it.
doing objectives, like you're just not killing stuff, and then it just, I think it grinds to a halt. But
I
I
mean,
think the Revenant Titan can definitely carry, dude. Like if if you have good targets, for sure.
yeah, I think it has potential. I think it's neat.
It's cool, dude.
I would
I
love to
think it's
watch
cool.
it get
I'd
played.
run this. I'd run this. If I had the models for it, I'd run it.
Well, good thing you can proxy them.
Yes, true. All right, well, Dead of Night, I think we have our list here, man. It looks pretty fun. I would say if this list doesn't win, at least it's fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a couple of different approaches
Yeah, I mean,
too.
I think you could bring this to your local game shop, and like people would have a hard time against it, and they would, it would be like, oh, how do I kill this? Like I think it would be fun. So
Yeah, toughness a million.
yeah, bunch of tough stuff. Looks fun on the battlefield. Looks cool. It's like instead of the Court of the Young King, it's a Court of the Young Titan. Shit, dude. All right, man. Well, I won't hold you up anymore, but it's been great talking to you again about this. And yeah, like always, we're gonna
For
have to do
sure.
more of these videos, man, because it's fun just talking about different ideas and different lists.
Yeah, it seems like everybody else having a good time too.
Yeah, it's just a good time. All right, well, thanks for watching, everybody, and like always, if you guys are interested in joining the Patreon to help support the channel, I do have free trials activated on that, and you can talk to great people like Dead of Night and, of course, the degenerates like myself. And, I'll leave the link in the description for you. And have a great one, everybody. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everybody. See you later.